So hey there, Jim Gavigan. Figured I was just thinking about this. I figured I'd do some reflections from this week at Aveva World. A little bit of a transition this year, so kind of wanted to talk a little bit about some of that stuff and, some personal reflections too. This is unscripted. I'm not going to edit it. So if I stumble over my words, I stutter, I say and like a million times. It's not going to get edited out. This is just raw me coming to you exhausted Thursday night and full of pizza from California Pizza Kitchen across the way. But first I want to give like some impressions of like what I saw this week, and I talked to a lot of my former peers. Talked to some other people. That I really can't go into, but it was different. We're so used to with Pi Worlds. There's so much technical emphasis on that, and then they had kind of changed it over the years to have more of a commercial track, for those executives and directors and things of that nature, and then you also had the technical track, so the nerds could get what they wanted, the executives could get what they needed, and then they could all go kind of talk, and say, well, here's what I learned, and are these things the things we need to pursue, right? And I think, with Aveva World it's a little bit different, in that I think there was a lot less technical stuff. I did hear some complaints about that, like, hey, that there's not a lot of depth. Today, some of the things that I heard was there were some really good presentations today. I unfortunately didn't get to make one today. I was out in the lobbies, talking to different people. But I heard I missed, some pretty good stuff today. So that's kind of my rundown, and here's the thing. I think there's a lot of potential opportunity here. There's a lot of really interesting integrations and combinations of things that we've probably not really thought about. And I think it's going to take a couple years for some of that to get worked out, right? There's going to be some kinks, some bugs along the way. For me, that's okay. I think it's good to see that even though very clearly Aveva is trying to figure out, okay, how do we put all this stuff together? We've got a lot of good stuff, a lot of interesting products, and some of these really need to integrate together a little bit better. And how does that really look, and what's really important? And I expected that, but it's probably more than what I thought. But even still, I don't see that as a negative, and realistically, personally, for me, a couple of things that really resonated for me. Sorry, I gotta move my hand a little bit there. I was actually a little bit overwhelmed at how many people said to me how much they missed either the blogging that I had done or the videos. And I literally had a guy come running up to me Monday night. It was almost like I was a celebrity. I mean, it was crazy to me. But he was like, hey, you're the Fishing Friday guy. And, Dave Griffith, that was a great idea, man. It was pure genius. That was his idea, not mine. So shout out to him. And it was kind of neat because I think it broke up the monotony and all of the stuff we see on LinkedIn. It was just something fun, and something to show the human side of things, right? And it evidently resonated with people because I had multiple people mention it to me this week. I've had multiple people say, hey, why aren't you doing it anymore? Like, we actually enjoyed that content. And I know I've been in a little bit of a shell, and I'll talk about that. We're about to celebrate 6 years in business. I'll shoot that video hopefully next week or the week after, and release that on our 6-year anniversary. So I'll make sure I get that out, and I'll talk a little bit about that, kind of how well, I was in a little bit of a rut, in all honesty. But I heard loud and clear this week, Jim, you need to get back to it, and because it was it was enjoyable, educational, sometimes inspiring. Get up off your duff and go try something, go do something different. Yeah, you're right. That really is important. We really should do that. So I heard that loud and clear. That was good for me to hear. But even more importantly, I had a conversation with a customer today, and I actually haven't done any business with this particular group within this company. And I met this this particular person, probably 5 years ago. And we've known each other. We've kept in touch. We see each other at these conferences. Every once in a while, LinkedIn message or a comment, on something. But it was really humbling today in that they said to me, one of the reasons why I want us to do business with your company is because I understand how you are, all the blogs you did and the videos, and you have that passion to do the knowledge transfer, and train our people and all of those kind of things. It was one of those things. It was a validating moment because there have been times that I wondered if any of you are really listening. Did it resonate? Oh yeah, here's another video by Jim. You need to watch it. Yeah, that's pretty good. Thanks. But did it really have an impact? That was really, for me. And also, was it going to have an impact in our business? Right? Is it ever going to matter, or is it just me pontificating? And I heard loud and clear a couple of times this week that it really resonated with people. And that's humbling. And another reason why I'm saying loud and clear, I've got to go back and do that. So, for those of you that didn't, have followed me over the last several years, I was doing that. In all honesty, I'm not going to lie. I was doing that to try to get some validation because I had started out on a venture on my own. I'd left a large company, that had a reputation in the market. I was a year and a half away from transitioning from a salesperson, and now I'm supposed to be your pie expert and you're supposed to trust me. So a lot of that was a vehicle for me to try to gain some kind of credibility in the market. And I've been, one thing it has been is a good recruiting tool because people can go watch and hey, here's some things that we're into. Is this something you would be interested in? And this is how we do things. You can get a really good feel for it. And it's been a great recruiting tool, but not necessarily for customers. So I think, right? But today it culminated. It mattered. It made sense. And, I give a shout out to Dave as well on this because, he encouraged me to do more of it, and then, we hit some hard times like end of last year, beginning of this year. And, I had to kind of cut our marketing budget by a lot, i.e. to nothing. And I don't know, I just didn't feel like doing it. I wasn't inspired to. And so, yeah, I've got to get back to that. But, I know a lot of people have paid attention over the years, and I don't think I really realized how much and how much it mattered. Even a couple of my former colleagues were, I don't know, it was a really interesting conversation today just after lunch. You guys know who you are. That meant a lot. And just seeing them be happy for my success and our success and the risk that I took, 6 years ago almost. It was a risk, trust me. And there have been times I thought I was going to go under. And but I wasn't going to give up. And I have a friend of mine who's been kind of in that mode. He started his own business. And he was almost ready to give up, the other day. And, had a chat with him. And so it just, I don't know, sometimes you start something like this and it's like you can't. Even though sometimes you think you ought to. Like, it's just time to quit. Nobody's getting it. But, I heard loud and clear, this week. It was truly humbling, the amount of opportunity that potentially could come our way. I was so shocked, humbled, stoked, so excited. I'm so excited to go back and tell my team all about everything, and all of that. So I guess for all those that are watching, you guys know who you are that came up and said something, this week, and it was funny. I was having a little fun with, my dress because this is something that I've always done, since I guess I came to the first conference at Aveva World in 2017 as Industrial Insight. And one of the things that I was like, how do I stand out? And so I've always tried to wear, some really loud clothes, loud shirts, which I actually personally like too. I mean, it kind of fits me in the part of my life I am. So I was posting those on LinkedIn just to have a little fun. And a lot of people are like, it helps you stand out, because across the room we can see you. And I'm like, yeah, it's a lot better than, hey, I'm the guy in the blue blazer. Well, there's 1,500 of those, you know. And, so that was kind of fun. And it was fun that, like, people, like, took notice of that. Like, hey, it does make you stand out. And, sometimes, like I said, I do these things that are, I don't know, they feel a little silly at times. They're really not. That's a very purposeful thing. Because in 2017, when I walked in, literally, let's see, 2017 Pie World, I didn't even have my first customer yet. No one had believed enough in me to send me a PO. So I was like, I need every trick I can pull to try to stand out. And even if my loud shirt starts a conversation, you never know, right? So I wanted every reason for someone to talk to me, even if it was a novelty to start, right? And then they would feel, then once they talk to me, I'm like, oh, you're actually of substance, okay? So you're not just a novelty. Now it's just been kind of tradition. I think next year I've got to bring some different color, maybe not different color shirts, but different styles, and maybe some different colors too. I think the lime green and the pink have worn out their welcome. That's actually the second shirt of those that I have. Those are not the original shirts that I wore in 17. I actually got some new ones, I don't know, a couple years ago. But anyway, once again, I'm rambling. Like I said, I'm not going to edit this. It's just Jim's thoughts. And if you're still with me, thank you. But I'm super humbled. I think there's a lot of opportunity. I think, Aveva, in the traditional, OSI saw folks, there's a lot to learn from each other and try to figure all this out. I think the transition's been tough on a lot of people. I mean, that's to be expected. Mergers are hard, especially as fiercely independent of a company as OSI Soft was. To merge into something much bigger, like Aveva it's a little bit of a culture shock and a little challenge. But I think there's a lot of opportunity to do some really great things there. And I'm excited to see, what role we play, like what are the products that we ought to really be paying attention to. I got a little bit of a sense of that this week, but, time will tell. But anyway, last thing I just wanted to say thank you to all the folks that I connected with this week, and some new folks, some folks I've known for, 8, 9, 10 years now. And, some folks that, have chosen to believe in us, in me, my vision, and us as a company, because it's not just me. There's 5 of us now, and there's about to be a 6th. You'll see an announcement here in a couple of weeks. It's it's pretty amazing, considering where we've been at times. So that's just a big thank you. So I just wanted to kind of get this out, if not for you, for me, so I can kind of document this journey. So anyway, thanks again. My thoughts from San Francisco, out early tomorrow, and back to St. Augustine. Peace out.